Okay, feeling a little off again today, but push through it. But currently known issues of Conan Exiles. I'm going to start with all the story, solo, offline, whatever you want to call it, campaign, non-server related issues, and it's mainly crashes out the wazoo in offline mode. So the most notable one that I can almost guarantee will happen to me every time it happens is thralls. I'm currently on a server at the moment, so it won't crash, because every time the game crashes it stops my recording, so I can't show you it crashing. So I've jumped onto a actual server. This is a friend's server, so me and him play on it. It is open to the public. I'm not going to tell you the server or anything like that. But the main issue is, if I want to, for example, throw that loincloth on him. Normally what I do is, if I'm dressing my thralls, I will come into the thrall and I will just remove all their clothing. So nudity ahead. Right, so he's got nothing on. Then I would come into here and then equip that to cover it up. Doing that is a 98% roughly. There's a very slim chance it won't happen, but I can guarantee I will crash a good 98% of the time. I will crash. Just doing that. Taking all the gear off and throwing on the new armor piece. I am almost guaranteed 100% it will crash. There's the very slim chance it will not crash, but that is one of the big issues. It has happened when I brought up my settings options and gone to change the settings on a second account, because I've got my main account, which is what I'm on now. Then I have an account which was set up for my YouTube channel, which is for testing, that sort of stuff. And then I have a third account which I use for, in brackets, administrative work or anything like that, on any of my servers that I had. But currently I very rarely play on that account. But I was on my testing account for my YouTube channel, and all I done was open up my options, changed the nudity setting, and the game crashed. So crashing is a big issue. Just to make people happy for a little bit, I will take that off him, so that all the people who don't get the full version of the game can see that. So that's the main issues in the offline mode. Is if I change his gear, like if I walk to him, if he's naked like this, walk up to him and go, okay, I want to stick some gear on him. Stick the gear on, game crashed. That's how it happens in offline mode. It doesn't happen in servers. As you can see, I did not crash. So Funcom, you need to do testing on the offline mode. So solo or co-op with online options turned off. You need to do some testing there, because there is a buttload of crashing issues there. I'm going to bring this guy with me. Let's grab all them. Let's pick that up. Now I don't care if this guy dies, because he's literally, it was just a tester. Another bug. That name, if I open up his thingy, he's an accused fighter 1. He spawned in, so he's not important. But if I pick him up, for example, and go to and move him, then the title off to the right is no longer following, is not in English. So that's another bug, but that's in both online and offline. I believe it's in offline. I didn't check on the offline mode. But that is an issue we've been having. So that needs fixing. The constant crashing offline mode needs crashing. The crashing offline mode, that is game breaking. Like, you cannot equip your thralls with gear, because your game will crash. I don't know whether it's for everybody, or just a minority, or a majority, I don't know. But both my accounts that I tested it with crashed if I interacted with the thralls and changed their gear. Just coming up to the thrall and throwing a torch in their inventory, or whatever, something in their inventory, it seems to be okay. If I do a fast transfer of just junk, that's okay, but when I try to equip stuff to them, it crashes, almost guaranteed. The servers, generally speaking, aren't too bad, but on my second account, I was getting freezes. Every 5 seconds, I would get a freeze of about 2 or 3 seconds. It got to the point where it was unplayable. So I jumped into offline, and the freezing seemed to disappear. I can understand the occasional, like when you come up to, that's why I'm got the map. I'm down here because I know some of these structures here I had issues with, so I'm just going to point them out. But I'll clear this one up first, the freezing. I was spawning around the map, and I was getting freezing. Move for 5 seconds, then I'll get a freeze for about 3 seconds. Then I get to move again for another 5 seconds, and it was almost exactly 5 seconds, almost exactly. How long it froze for was dependent on what was around me. If I was surrounded by a lot of enemies and structures, it seemed to be the freeze was for longer. Okay, let's see what this guy's capable of. Off you go. See, and there it says the ordered accused fighter, it's fine. Where are you going, buddy? Attack it. There you go. It can't hurt me, I'm in God mode. Just to show. There we go. So, yeah, so like in that situation, I couldn't afford that because I would have been freeze. And it's like, I did record it on my second account. So if I remember to, I'll upload it as a clip. But there was a structure, not this one. It's the one further around, I think. And I walked up and nothing was loading in. I could still get hurt. And like they were there because I could bump into them, but I couldn't see them. There was no floor. It looked like the building was floating. The NPC was there because I bumped into them, and then I was bleeding. This is on my other account, by the way. Because I was doing the testing, because I noticed it happening a lot on this character, on my main account. And so I jumped on my secondary, my thing. See how it popped in like that? It was kind of like that, but it was refusing to pop in. It eventually did, but it took like 20-30 seconds. Just bring up him and go to track. Oh yeah, is he still following? Okay, I noticed that the thralls seem to lag way behind. Okay, here it is. I'm assuming it's something to do with this streaming or the rendering or something like that. It's obviously it's too much for the strain. And for record, I'm on the PlayStation 4 Slim, but that shouldn't matter. Like, while he's running, while I can see him running, it's fine. But when I lose sight of them and you walk up, it takes them a few seconds before they go, oh, I'm supposed to spawn to you. Bring up the map. I'm pretty sure it was that spot just there. Akim or whatever it is. But I don't want to teleport to it because then that doesn't show the issues. Because if you teleport somewhere, you can expect stuff to take its time to load in. Through all the years of adminning I'd done on I had 2 servers. This is before the 8-month abandonment of the consoles. Through all the years I was adminning on my 2 servers, you learn some tricks and tips and that sort of stuff, which I'm happy to share with you, but that's not what this one's about. This is about like issues we're having. So teleporting, when you teleport, the game has to stream in or render in all the stuff around you. So it can take a little bit of time depending on where you teleport to. I'm not going to fight enemies. You know, if you die, buddy. That was him teleporting to me. But you know what? You're too stupid, you don't deserve that. No, there you go. No armor for you. Okay, let me just check the map. Okay, so it wasn't here. Okay, there's a boss croc just off to the right there. Yeah, I was just running around the coastline of the map because I only just recently got the DLC because they only recently fixed the game. I was coming up to a structure and it had all these pillars and stuff like that, and it's like there's a big hole in the ground and the building's floating. It's like, that's a little odd. So I jumped over the gap, ran the other side, then also I bumped into something else taking damage. I said, what the hell? So I jumped onto the wall and waited. Just stood there and waited. And then all of a sudden, boop, it all popped in. The floor was there, the guy that was hitting me was there, and everything like that. So it's like, interesting. So that's an issue, pop-in. And not just normal pop-ins, I mean like, you come up to something and it's invisible, there'll be nothing there and you'll be getting hurt. When it comes to those situations, I recommend to any game developer, having the pop-in isn't a bad thing. It is, like you don't want it happening. But if you can somehow make it so that what you see and what can interact with you are exactly the same time. So if it doesn't load it in visibly, don't let it interact with you in any way. So if the enemy doesn't load in visibly, don't let it hurt you, and then it'll be fine. You can put up with stuff not rendering in. Obviously, you'd prefer it not to have any issues at all, just to render in. But if you're going to have rendering problems, okay, it was kind of like that structure there. I walked up to it. The tower was there. The wall around it was there, but the floor wasn't there. And none of the enemies were rendering in. But yet they could still hurt me. And that was where the issue is. They can still hurt me. I could put up, like, it freaks you out because you have to jump over, something like that. But you can put up with it if you can't see it. If it can't hurt you. But when it can hurt you, when you can't see it. Okay, I'm just going to run past these guys. Okay, I just lagged a bit there. That's another issue that's happening a lot. Not so much in like high stress areas. So like when you're in mass combat, it's not so bad. But every now and then you get when you do like a weird like teleport lag, and it gets annoying. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just doing my run around the coast to see if anything's going to come, any structures or anything that I come up to will do the no loading thing. I don't want to teleport to them because, as I was saying, it can cause loading issues just teleporting, and I don't want that to influence the result. But when you're running up to a structure and the floor is not there and the enemies aren't rendered in, but the enemies can still hurt you, that is an issue. Oh, he's a big fella. So if you haven't seen the DLC, Isle of Sipta, this is the kind of scenery. I'm doing the coastline here. It's only in my country. It's $30, $29.95. Is it worth $29.95? You get a set of armor, or a couple of sets of armor, building pieces, 2 types, the old ruins, kind of like shipwreck, salvaged kind of pieces called the flotsam, and then you get the storm glass, which is more arena style. They're not bad. The armors are not bad. The island, it's nice and big, and it's an island. It's not, you don't come up to a wall across the land. It's an island. To get to the walls, you'd have to swim out. So in that aspect, yeah, it's worth the $30. The main issue is right now, in offline mode, with all the freezing and crashing, especially the crashing, it's too stressful to enjoy. And if you were to buy a server, or rent a server, so you don't have the crashing issue, it's like $32 a month. The DLC is only $29.95, so you have to pay for the DLC every month just to get a server. And if you just want it so you're not crashing, it would be private. So you'd be paying $32 a month for a private server, because you can only get a minimum of 20 slots. If G-Portal pulled their thumb out their bum and gave the console users the same as what PC users get, and be able to get a 10 slotter, then it wouldn't be $32, it'd be closer to $13, which is a little bit more bearable. So yeah, it's not viable to play this is offline, because it's too broken still. It crashes too regularly. If you go in and you do not interact with any thralls, and be very, very cautious of what actions you take, yeah, you can still play it. But the second you try and equip an armor to a thrall, the game crashes. It's like, boom, see you later. Catch you next time. And then you have to reboot it back up again, hope that it saved recently, and do all your shit again, and re-equip the thrall as gear. I have found, generally speaking, after the crash, there's a small window of opportunity to, when you get back in again, that you can equip gear to a thrall, and it seems to not crash again. So that's the way you'd have to do it, is equip the thrall, save, just before you equip the thrall. So in other words, back out of the game, come back in to save it. Or force the game to save by changing something or whatever. Equip the armor to the thrall, have it crash, restart the game, and re-equip the armor to the thrall, and hope that it doesn't crash for the second time. That is the way you have to do it. And it's like, that isn't the way you should have to play Conan. My hopes on them fixing it quickly are not high. It took them 8 months to bring the island out, and it took them years to fix the contextual text, and it took them months to fix the nudity. So speed isn't their strong suit. However, they do listen to the community. Unlike CDPR, the criminal scumbags, Funcom do listen. So if you, for example, go to the YouTube channels, or send them an email, or go to one of their forums, I believe the forums are the best bet. I dislike that idea. I'm sorry. Give us a website, or in-game have a button to click on and go, bug report. Click on that, report the bug, and then they get it. That is the best way to do it. Okay, so now they spawned in. I'm literally just running along the coast in hopes that we'll get some sort of weirdness happen. Okay, there's an enemy right next to me and he hadn't loaded in. Interesting. See what I mean? Like, he was right there and he did not load in. He loaded in already. The creatures do look pretty cool. On the island. I will give him that. And that is a lizard in the water. There is a little bit of a bug when it comes to the audio. There is some long stints where there is no audio playing, so you'll be fighting and it's not making any noise. But I believe it's related to the stuff not loading in. Same with when an enemy makes a noise. If they trigger the noise and then move, the noise will come from where they were, not where they are. Okay, now it's all loading in. Yeah, but it was like, for example, that. The tower bit there would load in. That bit will load in. The rocks around it or the walls around it would, but the flooring would not load in. So I'm like jumping over the gap thinking, oh yeah, it's a hole, when it's not, it's actually a floor. Yeah, so this part here wouldn't load in.
There, a shadow in the mist.
Okay. Well, it's not going to happen for me. It's not very often when you're playing on a server. So, 10% or less of the time, something won't load in. Audio's a lot more. It's closer to like a 30-40% chance of you be doing stuff, and like how you can hear my footsteps. There'll be stints where you don't hear your footsteps. They're the main issues. So if you think, oh yeah, I might buy Conan, buy the DLC, enjoy the new island, there'll be no issues because they fixed them all. No, that's not the case. Is it back to where it was 8 months ago? Kinda, yeah, because the crashing in an offline mode has been happening for quite some time. I've reported it several times, nothing's happened about it. When my internet goes down or I'm on one of my accounts, because I've got an account that isn't online, so I can just, it's got no PSN, no nothing. When I'm playing on that account, I can't connect to the internet, so I can't go onto a server or anything like that. It's like always crashing because I'm interacting with a thrall, and it's like, this is bullshit. So that definitely needs a fix. The load-in issues, it's bearable most of the time. There is the occasional time you'll be doing something and you go, oh yeah, let's go check out this, like that structure. You go, oh, let's go check it out. You go over, get over there, and there's no floor. There's a big hole in the ground. There's no enemies. You go, oh yeah, it's safe. There's a hole in the ground, but it's safe. So you go charging in there, and then all of a sudden you'll be getting taken damage. And it's like, wait, what? And then you finally get to a safe spot, and it's like, oh, there's enemies because they finally start and it all pops in at once. It's not like the enemies will pop in and be floating or something like that. It's like the floor, the enemies, the extra stuff like the crates and stuff, all pop in at once. And it seems to be per chunk, if you want to call it that way, because that's the way Minecraft uses his chunks. It's the map is split into like a grid. So think of think of each one of these squares as a chunk. It's actually smaller than that, but we'll say that. You could enter from one grid to another grid, or chunk to a chunk, and all of a sudden there's nothing in this next chunk. But give it enough time, and all of a sudden it loads in. Like all this crap here, it'll just pop in all at once. Enemies, floors, that sort of stuff. Again, that guy's got looks like a tiger on him. Or some sort of cat. Again, it was just a testing thrall, so it doesn't matter. I have noticed there's been a couple of little stutters, but it's like half a second freeze ups, so they don't matter. You can put up with them. It's the big ones that happen on my second account, whereas every 5 seconds you get a huge freeze up. Yeah, so like this floor here wouldn't load in, but the pillars would. Okay, I'll get to a safe spot. They'll stop chasing me and I'll check the map, see where I am. Oh yeah, so I'm around there. So and I'm away through all. Okay. Okay, I'm going to quickly teleport to my base. Because there is a spot near my base with a camp that I know has an issue, which I can hopefully show you. It's a thrall is spawning in the ground, and it is shooting me through the ground. So I cannot kill this enemy, but yeah, it can kill me. And that is an issue. And that's pretty much all the main issues of the game right now. Loading in, like see that it was ground and now it's it was grass, now it's like stone. That kind of loading is the issue. Okay. There's my house, my tree house, and there's the camp. So there's that wolf, which is usually a skulled wolf, and then there's a handful of people in that camp. I'll let the wolf do a fair bit of damage, because usually the wolf wins.
Pokey pokey, mate. Watch it.
Okay, so she's dead, and I just fell off the. And come back up. Okay, so there's one guy here. No. Can you stay on, please? Thank you. One guy there. And there's that archer there, which could have been the one that was in the ground before. Okay. Dead. Nothing good. Yeah, so last time I came here, I was standing here and I was getting shot through the ground. Cage is still empty. I've gotten 3 keys from this camp, and the cage is always empty. If I interact with it, it is empty. Loot boxes, I've got so many of those, it's not funny. So yeah, it didn't trigger that time. But spawning is an issue. Rendering in or pop in can be an issue. And that's both in offline and online. More so online with the pop-ins. Offline, crashing. And if anyone from Funcom watches this, mainly when you're interacting with Thrall's inventories and equipping or unequipping armor or clothing. That is my main spot of crashing. Audio. You'll get times with no audio plays. That's kind of the main issues. Okay, this guy's got to come over here. I'm gonna be sad when this sword breaks. I love this sword. Building restrictions on the Isla Scepter is an issue. Like for example, my bridge just here, how it stops just there, I can't build any closer. So I literally have to come up here, jump, and land here. And to get back out again, I just jump over to there. It's not an issue. It stops animals and shit from going across there. But it's like, I would love to build it all the way across. But there's half an hour of the issues of Conan. To be honest, I've emailed them about some suggested changes, so I'm waiting to hear back from that. Bug fixes, got to fix the crashing in offline mode, 100%. That is like, makes the game pretty much unplayable in offline mode. Yeah. Other than that, it just needs more performance and tweaks. Across streaming seems to be an issue. From what I can tell, like the pop-ins, the audio not playing, it seems to be a streaming issue. So from the game going, oh, this asset needs to be there or whatever, it's having trouble doing that. And I can't tell you whether it's worse or better than the update prior, because I didn't play the updates prior, because the nudity sensor was incorrect. And I'm not going to pay a company for content in an incorrect product. And that's the reason why I'm currently in talks with government agencies about CDPR, because they are refusing to give us our product, and yet they've taken our money, and they've stolen our money. They took our money and are refusing to deliver the product. And they're the worst kind of criminals. So, well, there's half an hour. There's the main issues. Is Isle of Siptar worth it? As my stream, I think it was yesterday or the day before, said, for $29.95, it's a big island. It adds some extra content. Yeah, it could be worth the $30. But this is the but here. If you want the best experience, you have to play on a server, and the servers cost around about $32 a month. And this isn't so much on Funcom. It is, because they need to fix the crashing in offline. But the fact that G-Portal will not give console users a 10-slot server is horse crap. If PC can get a 10-slot server for Conan, console can as well. But they will not. The minimum you can get is a 20-slotter, which is $32 something. Or $31 something like that. In my region. If you're American, you could take about $5 to $8 off. Maybe a little bit more. It's probably around the 25-ish dollars. 23, 24, 25, something like that. But to have to pay that per month just so you don't have the constant crashing is horseshit. So Funcom need to fix the crashing in offline mode. Using menus and interacting with thralls, equipping armor is the main problem. And then G-Portal have to give us 10 slotters on the consoles. So there you go. There's the issues. I'm going to call it here. Stay safe, look after each other, and I'll catch you next time.